All right, Mayhem Affiliate. Is this a Mayhem Affiliate podcast? Is that what we're talking about? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So we got Christy, we got Darren, we have Josh. Darren and Josh were on the previous episode, and everybody in the Mayhem Affiliate track knows who Christy is. But introduce yourself to the world.
Hello, world. I am Christy, and Darren and I run Mayhem Affiliate together. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
Thanks
for including me in there.
Give us some background,
So I owned and ran my own CrossFit affiliate for 7 years, and then when I was ready to transition on from there, I decided to join the best company in the world.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So kind of talk about, I guess, where you started out, I guess, with Jake and Darren, and then what you've kind of the role you've kind of adapted. It's kind of been, it was Wild West in the beginning. Darren, making videos, videos with the shoes on, so
shoes on and off.
How's it kind of professionalized over the years, I guess?
I mean, keeping Darren in line is half of my job.
Breach,
pretty
been there,
accurate.
still there.
But the nice part about my background is that since I've been a gym owner, I can see that side of it. So Darren might want to program every piece of equipment in the entire gym in one workout, and that would be really fun, but kind of hard for gym owners.
That's partly Rich's fault for giving me everything.
And then even Josh, from that point, reins Darren in as well. So Darren has a lot of bumpers.
I do. I have a lot of strings tugging.
It's like bowling with the bumpers up, though. Yeah. It's always a strike at the end.
Yeah, just sure.
Not necessarily.
Always.
Strike 1, 2, or 3. Baseball or are we bowling?
You get the ramp too.
You do. You do. But yeah, no, and that was where, Josh was amazing with the early stages of it, like when I moved back home, because a lot of that, you do. I mean, you get comfortable with the area that you grew up in as far as the gym setting I had. And Christy was able to kind of bring me back down to earth with it. Like, hey, most gyms don't have this. We have to take that into account. And it's been great. She reached out on a limb. What you messaged?
There wasn't a job posting.
Yeah,
I literally just messaged and said this would be a dream come true. Let's make this happen. And after many interviews later, it worked out.
It happened.
Yeah.
So you've been with us for how long?
A little over 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yep. And so day to day, what takes up the most of your time, I guess, in the affiliate?
So we have over 1,600 gyms following our programming, and they can all come to me for support.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So it might be like questions on the programming, or it might be business support. So last week, for instance, I had a 30-minute call with a gym owner who for the past 5 years has been coaching every single class.
Good Lord.
And I had to talk him into, you need to hire some coaches. And he said, why? When I could just, keep that money instead of paying. And I said, if I gave you 1 hour tomorrow to make some posts and try to get one member, could you? And he said, yeah. I said, well, you just paid for that class 1,000,000 times over.
Yeah. Yeah, just getting people to kind of realize that.
Just kind of teaching new gym owners, old gym owners, just different ways.
Different ideas, different schools of thought. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. And, that's where, when Josh had, came in as well, that's where that kind of even helped, Rich and I, because, when Rich and I started, we were, like we said, we were wild, wild west.
Darren was working coaching.
But it was, old school CrossFit style. We had a dry erase board and fill in the blank classes, kind of deal. And it's like, oh, somebody might show up to this class, somebody might not. And if they did, great. If they paid, that was awesome. If they didn't,
it's basically a frat house.
Yeah. I would say if they didn't, we were still friends.
We got really fit, but we didn't make any money.
Yeah.
But you had fun.
Yeah, we did. We had fun with it, and then Josh was able to teach, at least to teach me structure because he was good where he was at Tech, like where you started. I know that we talked a lot about that previously, but that helped a ton. And like I said, having both sides of that has really helped kind of expand it all. And it's been great to give the affiliates comfort to know they have somebody that they can go to. As much as I try to be in contact with them, Christy's been 24/7, which is awesome.
What's kind of, we'll go through a number of things, but what's the number one question people come to you with?
I mean, highest level would just be questions about the programming.
Just trying to make sense of Darren's nonsense.
Yeah. But more than that, I would say
It's not
different ways
nonsense.
to get new members would be a big one for sure.
Now, both of you, I guess, Josh and Christy, what do you think the best way to get new members is?
I think it's consistency in the way that you treat your member population, because, and you can say that we come into this with like an unfair advantage, but we don't have to do any advertising in town.
I would argue the opposite.
So, so when we have new members, the way that we've structured everything at the gym, it's almost always referrals of people that are coming in from current members that we already have. And, you know, we talked about this on the last podcast, but several things that we try to do is for our athletes, we try to accommodate them before, like with things that they wouldn't even expect. So prorating is something that we do when people are sick. If I've noticed that somebody hasn't been in the gym for a while, I'll reach out to them and see what their situation is. And they're like, yeah, I missed a couple months because I had this family issue going on. And I tell them, I'm like, well, we're going to take a look at the time that you were here last, and then we'll look at adjusting your membership next month and the following month to make up for that time. And like that alone has brought in several people because they said, hey, I heard how you worked with my friend, and this is amazing because I've never experienced this. And then the other thing is that the community that you create. So there's very much consistency across all of our classes that we do. I write coaches' notes for all of the programming that we do throughout the week, and then that's shared with all the coaches via GroupMe the night before. So if you go to the 5 a.m. class or you go to the 7 p.m. class, it's the same stimulus, it's the same intention, there's the same modifications that happen. And then the coaches as well, people can often, you'll find people that I want to put this in the right way. You'll find people that think they want to be a coach, and because it's appealing to them, they see somebody getting in front of a group of people, and you kind of get to tell people what to do, and that's exciting. But you have to have a passion for improving and like helping people find what they can do to the best of their abilities. And then also, and I'll borrow a term from psychology, scaffolding for them. So what you're doing is if somebody's current ability level is here, we take that workout and we adjust it or modify the challenge so it's right outside of what their area of ability is. And then what that allows them to do is that they can reach that level, versus if I take somebody who has their capacity in a workout could be 50 wall balls and they couldn't work the next day. If I give them a workout that has 200 wall balls in it, I'll never see them again. Yep. And so it's
been there.
It's being able to adjust like so macroscopically and microscopically in terms of what you do in your individual classes, of adjusting for the one individual that you have that you know is developing confidence and working on like what they know, that understanding what they can do, and then also being able to handle a large class of people at the same time. And I pride myself on the entire coaching staff we have at the gym because I would trust any of them doing that. Mm-hmm. And it's like they're passionate for it. So they're not just there to collect a paycheck. Like they want to see people improve. They get excited when they see like somebody PR or somebody do something as simple as an unassisted air squat when this person's like, I could never do that before, my knees are too bad.
Right.
So that's what it is. It's the culture, consistency, and how you treat everyone.
I would say that's a big, big thing that's changed over the years. Just in CrossFit in general, is like when we first started, it was you wanted to trash people to show them how hard it was. You know, like you wanted to prove how hard CrossFit was.
You wanted to make them say that hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
You wanted to hear that.
You wanted them to throw up. You know, there was this whole like
you see, you like
badge
it.
of honor type thing, and I think that's probably a good thing that we went away from that. Or
It's
you know, like
for
people at times are upset about that. Of you know, I was with Austin Malleola this weekend for 3 or 4 days, and we were just kind of talking about and reminiscing about the old days. And like, I wish part of me could go back to those days where I didn't understand how bad stuff hurt, so you could just go all in on a workout.
Oh, that was the best.
That's your job as a coach, you know, is to understand where they're at. You know, it's technique versus intensity and all those different things that you learn about in the CrossFit Level 1. And but man, it's just a different time we live in CrossFit, right? And so and for the best, like
100%.
You know, it should be that way, but it just feels so different from like when me and Darren, like he was talking about when we first started CrossFit. You know, like one example is like we've kind of all of us here have kind of transitioned back to that minimalist type shoe. Me and Darren for probably 8 months just worked out barefoot.
Yeah,
Like
barefoot.
ran miles
Before
on
that,
pavement,
it was like
barefoot.
shocks.
Ran
It was
on
like
pavement?
Ran on
Yeah,
pavement, everything. And
because
so
we
like,
watched an early YouTube
yeah,
video.
just watching hardcore, you know, like,
Yeah.
so it's you know, it's been cleaned up for the masses. But, you know, part of you is kind of like, dang, it was pretty cool back then, right? You know, where now it's a little bit more.
Like, I think with that, a parallel can be drawn between how small Mayhem was, like, like so many years ago. And
Well, this was pre-Mayhem, technically.
Yeah.
You know, like
so it was like, what it was is that it was like a challenge culture in terms of like, that's how those bonds were formed.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you say, hey, I saw somebody do 200 wall balls unbroken, I bet you can't do it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, 225 then. And then it would be that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you're
That's ridiculous.
when you're looking at, a gym getting bigger and bigger, it starts to not lose the bonds, but it's a different type of bond.
Yeah.
So it's like where it's like, if we're, you know, if you're on a hike or something and you see a creek, you're like, hey, I bet you can't jump over that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, because of like the relationship you have with each other, they're like, okay, I'll do it. But when I have somebody that comes in that's brand new, doesn't have any background, they can still be challenged in a way. But I also look at it this way. It's like, if they don't want to keep like paying a membership because the training is too hard for them,
Yep.
they can stop their membership. And from a business standpoint,
Doesn't make
then
sense.
we can't continue. So it's finding where, and we still very much have that challenge culture because the 24-hour row for
we're
the
about to do, yep.
standard is coming up.
Yep.
So if you guys want to support a fantastic foundation, Big Fish with Tosh, that is something we have coming up. So I think there's elements of that culture that's
yeah.
there. It's just that with anything, as it grows, you have to start accommodating those bigger
Well, you're in
the
the
bigger
margins.
population.
Yeah, you're in the margins at that point,
Yep.
and you've got to meet people kind of where they're at, and people will still. That's what I always tell people. I hate the term, or I hate when people say, "Well, I got to get in shape before I start CrossFit."
It's the
Oh,
worst.
It
that
drives
makes
me
me
crazy.
crazy.
You know, like that's what we're here for, and that's what we're doing. But like there's still like inter class competitions, and then class to class competitions, and then so it's not even structured competitions. Like people kind of team up, and you always see people training together because they're pushing each other, which is cool. So
Great.
you can almost always find somebody to either push you or will be right there for you, which is pretty cool to see. I mean, at Mayhem, you see it every day. If you're in there at any point during the day, there's people kind of pushing each other and friendly competition. Sometimes, yeah. So
Well, it's like too. Speaking on that too, it's like it's difficult to be able to understand somebody's position when you've grown up and you've had like a core group of friends. Like you've had, and like when I was younger, I grew up and I didn't have a lot of friends when I was really, really young because we moved around a lot. So starting in a new gym is kind of like being that new kid in class feeling. And for somebody like Darren or Christy or even yourself,
I had a lot of friends growing up.
It's we know Darren. We could talk about time class too if you want. But what it comes down to is that there's certain personality types that can walk in a room and you can make friends immediately. So it's easy for you to like say like, hey, I may suck at what we're about to do, but I'm going to have a fun time. Like I'm pumped to be here with you guys. There's other people that will like slip into class. They won't say a single word. They're afraid to talk to the coach because they feel like they're going to be a bother. And then it's like, as a coach, you have to seek those people out in a way that's not going to intimidate them or scare them, but find a way to give them small challenges that they can start building the self-confidence, because when they leave the gym, like it's out of your control outside of like personally messaging them, but they have to make the decision to come back every day. Right. And so if they come in and they absolutely just get whooped on a workout, they go home thinking like, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not fit enough for this. I need to go find something else so that I can return to it. And then more than likely they won't. And I always tell people, if somebody gives you the excuse that they're not fit enough to start CrossFit, tell them that you want to work with a blank slate, because it's great. If they go do things on their own, like at Planet Fitness or something, they'll watch YouTube videos. They won't do things exactly right. And then you have a bunch of habits that you have to try to break this person doing.
15 years of that.
Yes. So,
and counting.
So that's another like huge point to it, that I think that like when you walk into a CrossFit gym, and I've experienced this mildly before, like when we go on vacation, you walk into a CrossFit gym and it's like everybody's got their group, and it's like you got to find a way to break in there. And it feels the smallest bit awkward. But I've been forced in front of a microphone so much now that it doesn't faze me.
Yep.
But for somebody who doesn't have those experiences of having to like insert themselves into a group, it's like making sure that your gym is always doing those welcoming pieces, whether somebody's just like looking in the door or somebody starting their first class.
Yep.
So
icebreakers. You guys do a good job of that, you know, because we do get a lot of drop-ins. It's almost like Disneyland.
It is. It is.
You know,
We've got a family from Ecuador.
Yeah, met them the other day.
Yeah, Ecuador, and they came here strictly to work out for a week, and that's it. It's a mom and her two sons.
Awesome. Yeah,
amazing.
So I'm grinding in class the other day. I was like, hey, you guys want a picture? Yeah.
I think it's Ecuador. I'm so sorry. I mixed it up when I talked to him, but we'll post
Either
it.
Ecuador or Guatemala.
It's Guatemala. That's it. Yes.
You guys.
So please, just edit me and take out Ecuador every time I've said Ecuador and put Guatemala every time.
Guatemala.
So
There you go.
This is your sound, Guatemala. Use that.
I think too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Christy.
Almost every gym has one or two of those members who are your go-to, just super friendly, talk to anyone people.
Yeah.
And I always
can be a
try
good
to make
thing,
a
a bad
point to, you know, introduce myself, of course, as soon as a new person would walk in, but then match up those two people. Because then you just know that they're great. Like
you have
they're gonna
people that are good at that, and then there's people that have the best of intentions, but
They want to coach them.
well, they can be like smothering.
And then
to
you
the
have
point
HR problems.
where it's like, yes.
There's a story there.
No, not really. But
It's
there's
like
several stories.
and it
You can't touch them.
One this morning.
well, it even comes down to, so it's like when you're coaching somebody who's like somebody who's very reserved and quiet. The act of somebody saying, hey, what's your name? What are you doing? Hey, how long are you going to be here? All this stuff. Exactly. It can even come down to the body language as a coach that you use, because if you approach somebody like straight on, like this body language of me, like being squared up against you can be like, okay, I don't. So adjusting the way that you're talking to somebody, there's small nuances that can go into it that it's having to have the empathy in terms of understanding somebody else's position and how they may be
Body language.
Exactly. So
I will say, you know, you two probably, Christy, I've never really seen you coach. I've seen you some at the games, but like you two probably have the best being able to meet people where they're at, like walking in the door or well, Darren, not so much, but high level coaching, you know, like on high level athletes, but you know, like you can meet people kind of where they're at and then get what you want out of them. You know, like some people, you just learn from body language. And really you use it like I always think about it with telling people about Jesus. Like if you just come at somebody right away, there's a high likelihood that you're going to be like, wow, what a weirdo, you know, like, so I think there's a crossover between the two. And I think you guys have done, I'm not saying that you don't do a great job.
Yeah,
of that.
Christy,
you
definitely don't do that, but
you know, that's what I've always bragged on Darren about until Josh came around, and Josh is the same way of just meeting people kind of where they're at and getting, you know, like some people need to be pushed a little bit. Some people need to be loved on a little bit. But I think that just comes with being a people person and kind of learning just body language and just how people are.
Yeah, there are athletes that can be towards the end of the workout and you want to push them and get in their face and super motivate them. And then there's other people that if you even go near them,
they're done.
Yeah, they're out for sure.
And I think
it's
too,
just knowing that,
you know, showing the athletes that you're not a fake, you know, especially in like today's world where there's so much out there where you can see a personality, but then like you see that person, you know, like live or like you meet them and you're like, that's not you.
Yeah.
Or, you know, or like that's not how you act. And I feel like coaching is the same way. Like in that hour that you're coaching, if you're the most excited person and you're up and down, but as soon as that hour cuts off,
leave me alone.
And you walk right away, go to your office or something, and it's like, hey, next coach has got you. I think that's where a lot of people fail at. And then that's where you can also turn a lot of members off on that. Like if you can show them that you're going to be a coach 24/7 to them, as soon as class is over, you're the one afterwards, like, hey, if you need something, you know, or hey, we didn't talk about this during class, but if you have a question now, then we can kind of address it. I think that's where a lot of people fail at, is that they don't necessarily know how to give that. They only know how to turn it on for that hour, and then it's off.
Well, that's
I'll
like
also
where it's a paycheck, you know? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's like there's no passion behind
But
that.
I'll also say
Yeah.
that's a good way to get burnt out too if you're always available.
100%. There is that happy medium that you do have to find.
People are like, oh, I coached. If previous to coaching or doing anything, oh, I coached 4 classes a day, and you're like, it's not that bad. But being on for 4 hours,
Back to
giving
back.
and actually giving your all,
Absolutely.
like being in public for me is emotionally draining. Like when we do train with Rich, or if I go do any public,
it's hard to hold that high.
Not that I'm an extrovert or an introvert. I'm kind of a mix between the two, and like I'm fine if it's just a small group or whatever. But just being on all the time will burn you out.
It
is
is.
Talking about that guy that coaches
was one
every
of the things
class.
I told him. I said, listen, you might think that you're giving full effort in those last couple classes in the day, but you're not.
You're not.
Yeah,
You're fried.
just
I think like I've described myself as an introverted extrovert.
Yeah.
So when I get up, I can be in front of people, and I can do a games week, like coaching at another gym. But when I come back, like I need to like isolate and just go and watch like Marvel movies or something so that I can recharge.
I need my Snuggie.
The thing about it is that there are certain things. So with coaching, the one thing I'll say is, like I said, I can go a week straight with it, and coaching kind of recharges me at the same time, seeing those small wins that people get and seeing like the confidence that people begin to build. And so that's where that is self-sustaining. There are things that I could do for a week that I would be like, don't talk to me for a year. But it comes to finding like the passion that you have in coaching. And if somebody is in the profession of coaching and it doesn't resonate with them, they're like, I may not have a passion for this. That is okay. People understanding that you're going to best serve people by taking on a different role than necessarily being a coach is going to serve the member better. It's going to serve their gym better, and they'll find something that begins to recharge them versus like, I have to coach. This is what I said I was going to do. You tried it, you metaphorically got the t-shirt, and then you found that maybe there's something you're better suited for.
Yep.
So, and it's not a bad thing to say, this is something I don't want to do, when you can find something that you can still help people, but that you get that like energy jolt from.
Yep.
So
that's what Darren did with the CrossFit games.
Yeah. That was exactly it. But, too, it's, what I found very early on when I started coaching is I was trying to be something that I wasn't, because I really didn't know how to act. I was like, am I supposed to be this cool, guy? Am I supposed to be this thing I saw? Am I supposed to be, what was the, Rich, what was the pull-up system on the doorway?
A perfect pull-up?
No.
P90X?
P90X.
Oh,
Am I supposed to be
Tony.
Tony Horton.
Tony Horton.
Right?
Yeah.
Tony
Was
Horton?
Tony,
that's
yeah,
right.
6 Tony Little was the
Beachbody.
gazelle guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But anywho,
Ab Ripper X, anybody?
but
He would do like 2 reps and then be like, keep going. I'm like, you're not doing this stuff either, all right?
But see, that was the thing. It's like that was everything I saw, and
Gotta be a hype man.
do I have to be this? And then I found out it came a lot more natural. I know it's the oldest saying, but be yourself. Like
100%.
when I actually took a step back and was like, okay, how I actually act every day is how I need to coach. Because and it to what we talked about earlier about it's hard to coach those multiple back-to-back. Well, if I was being something I wasn't, it's 10 times more exhausting because now I'm putting 100 times more effort into it, whereas if it's something more natural, I could flow from one class to the next. I still needed that downtime, I did, but I noticed that I wasn't stressed out a lot as much because it just felt natural. I didn't go home and I felt like I needed to just go in my room, shut all the lights off,
What's wrong, little Tony?
Yeah, exactly. Huddle up. But that's where something kind of like I said earlier is like you can walk in the gym and you can tell when somebody's being a fake. You can tell like when that coach is being who they are or they're not, and your members see that, they can read it. And I mean that's the part that always drove me nuts about it. It's like just act normal, like act yourself.
I think it comes from like good intentions but
It
bad
does.
execution.
Exactly.
Because you're acting like somebody you have admiration for.
Yep.
So you see a coach that uses humor in their coaching and you're like, man, I want to be just like that. And then you get up and your jokes don't land. They hit the wrong way. It's taking out a
That's
class.
you, Darren.
And it's like you said, like you can be this is like your believe in yourself. that Saturday Night Live skip.
You can dream it, you can do it.
Exactly. But what it comes down to is that you can be the best version of yourself. You can only be an okay imitation of someone else. So you have to find what your coaching voice is. And I've seen people go through that and really, really struggle with it. And you kind of have to go through those struggles sometimes, but then you find what works the best. Now, within that, I will find people that respond better to humor. So my overall MO may not be like the goofy coach, but I will use some self-deprecation in front of somebody who's self-conscious, so they can focus not on themselves, but like, okay, like he's saying that he can't do this, or he always messes up on this. And then that makes it relatable, and it disarms the client so that they can then focus on the job that they have, which is the fitness piece. I totally agree with that, is that you've got to be yourself, but be the best version of yourself. And then you'll start finding that people are being like, I love the way you coach class. I'm going to start doing it that way. And don't do that. Find the best way for you to coach class.
Chrissy, what's something you learned owning the gym? Like one of the main things that you've learned that you kind of pass along to some of these other affiliates?
I think that when you start your own gym, kind of like what you guys were saying, everything's kind of crazy at the beginning. And I was coaching half the classes, one other coach. And it's one of the biggest things for me was knowing when you've reached a point that you need to hire more coaches. You need someone to maybe help you with marketing, or because you kind of just add a couple more members every month and you handle it all and you handle it all. And then one day you realize that you're not the best you can be in any specific part. So it's just knowing when it's okay to kind of hire a team, ask for help, and then really excel at the areas you need to. I think a lot of business owners just want to keep doing it all themselves because that's just how it's always been, but there's a better way.
Yeah.
Pride. It's a killer.
Well, I think it comes like from two reasons too. Is like
pride.
Like one is they want to get the credit for everything. That's one place. Another place, and very well meaning, is that they don't want to look like they can't do the job. And asking for help is not saying that you're a failure. Asking for help is saying, I've established this. I've got the procedures in place. Now I want to have other people that hold the same quality of work that I do to keep these running so that we can continue to improve the community. Because when you spread yourself too thin, trying to do everything, it's like you said, you can only do so many things well, and then work suffers in all areas. So by doing that, what you end up having is that now you're bringing in somebody, it's like, this works really well. Let's see what you can do with it. And it's staying with those people. You can touch base with them, but there's a fine line between micromanaging and giving somebody freedom. And once you get comfortable with delegating like that, then you understand that you're serving your members better by doing that versus trying to do everything yourself, whether it's because you want to get the gold star above everybody else, or you just don't want people to think that you can't handle something you've established. So, and
you got to be okay with the fact that in the transition period, it might not be 100% as good as you've done it, but if you continue to train them, it will be, and it'll be a better product. And your members are going to appreciate other faces and other personality types, coaching styles.
Yeah. And, too, also being able to take feedback, being able to take criticism. I think that's something that a lot of coaches have a hard time doing because of pride. Yeah, like that was something that I was happy that we as a company were able to start taking more of, and also, because, like most people are like, hey, you guys haven't made these changes. It's okay to not make every single change. If you do that, then you're totally going away from what you really are.
You are, yeah.
But you want to take in the consideration of what people are saying, look at like what you're doing, and also seeing like where like you can fine tune, much like how we started training. Like we don't train the same way that we used to. There are things we used from the past that we still do. Crazy enough that a lot of that stuff still works, and it's awesome to see. And that's the thing, is you find those recipes, you use them, you may use them until they completely burn themselves out, but you can't be afraid to go back to like what like what worked, And
then with Mayhem affiliate programming, we really take feedback from all of our gyms, which is nice. They can email me anytime they want.
We have our calls
we have our monthly calls with affiliates, and they'll give us feedback, and then Darren and I will discuss it, and if we feel it's necessary, we'll make changes.
Yeah.
But you guys also, there's a Facebook group that's only Mayhem affiliates, and
Yep.
Every once in a while I'll peek in
Yeah,
there.
and it is. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we're constantly adapting and just working with all our gyms.
Yep.
You can't be too proud not to change, because then the world
No,
passes you by.
And you know, and of course, I always think there is that happy medium, like I said, because we don't want to change who we are. Like,
Our
you know,
base.
Rich talks about all the time. You always have like your pillars as far as who you are as a company, as a person, and that's exactly like what we. But we also want to make sure that we're keeping those pillars strong, and that we're also, you know, learning of like other revenues of like things, because like CrossFit and like coaching, there's always another way. There's always something new that comes out, and there's always something that you haven't seen. As much as I think I've seen it every single day would come up and I get punched in the face, metaphorically.
Okay. I was gonna say.
What are some of the main, like, I mean, have you guys taken in anything from other gyms that like community building ideas or anything that we've kind of like, obviously there's the making sure that the gym has kind of an identity, right? You know, for us as Faith Family Fitness Service, you know, we do kind of have this Disneyland kind of melting pot of all different athletes from different countries, from everywhere. Yeah. So like it is pretty diverse. And so, you know, that's, I guess, you know, we just had Mayhem for Mustard Seed that you guys did on Saturday. I was out of town, but so every once in a while we'll do kind of community events. We had the members Christmas dinner. Josh runs Thanksgiving for people who don't kind of either. We got a lot of tech students and people that just don't have family around, so we do that. Are there any other ideas that you guys have heard of or taken from some of the other affiliates and passed along?
So in Mayhem Affiliate, we do monthly challenges every month, which is just like a fun challenge that you can run at your gym, and they can win a prize. 1 month it was 2-minute AMRAPs. Just you have to do a different 2-minute AMRAP 5 days a week. And then it's fun because they can have their own leaderboard and such and get prizes that way. We also have Bring a Friend Day once a month where we suggest that, and we have a workout that is beginner friendly.
Right.
So different fun things like that the gym seem to really be liking.
Okay.
And we promoted the mustard seed workout. We actually promoted that to all of our gyms to run as an internal competition at their gym.
Yeah, how'd that go this year?
It went really well.
It went good.
Yeah, real well.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of that too, whenever we do our calls, you know, and I mean, kind of ask them stuff, they'll also tell us things that they've done, the way that they've run competitions, whether it's scoring wise, movements, you know, I mean, certain events, Halloween, like how, you know, like they kind of integrate it like within their class, like things that they do. I know Josh does a good job with that as far as, you know, setting up events. But even in like the Facebook group, I'll even just scroll through it and I'll see people post, hey, we had muscle ups today. This is how I scaled it. Or this is how that I had, you know, like my members do it. And I'll look at it and be like, that's a great idea. Like things that, again, you think you've seen it all and you always see something new, how they were able to make it fit for their athletes. I love that.
We just finished an 8-week bar muscle up progression.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, I posted, all right, let's see who got their first bar muscle ups. And it was just
and
so
they're
fun.
Still,
so many videos.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just still reeling in.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah, so people don't have to be a CrossFit affiliate to be a Mayhem affiliate, correct? Right.
Correct.
Yeah, I guess, you know, where have we kind of stepped in where CrossFit, what they weren't doing? Do you guys kind of see one of the main things? I mean, we have the affiliate map where people can, you know, we were in New York this week and you could see where Mayhem affiliates were. You guys are going on an affiliate tour starting tomorrow. So, I mean, yeah, I think there's been a lot of talk about like what CrossFit is and isn't doing. What are one of the ways you think that we're kind of stepping up into that place?
So as soon as you become a Mayhem affiliate, I personally reach out to you and you get access to all of our affiliate resources, which are on things like how to find new coaches, how to train your coaches, how to increase retention. Oh, do you want to run a nutrition challenge at your gym? Just whole right off the bat.
Yeah.
And plus I say, would you like to have a call with me? We can discuss programming. We can discuss your business. I'd love to hear from you. Let's get that set up.
Yeah.
It's just one-on-one with me right off the bat.
That's awesome. Yes. Yeah, honestly, I don't even know. And part of me is just not knowing what CrossFit is doing currently on the affiliate side. But
yeah, and I think that's where, you know, I love CrossFit. I mean, obviously, you know, and stuff, but I think that's where the inconsistency of that has hurt it in the long run, is that every year it seems to be like a different shift.
Yeah.
You know,
there's no
and,
just constant.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, I know that they're getting better at it, which is great to see because I love it. I'm like for the, you know, community aspect of it.
Overarching community. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah, because it definitely needs it. You know?
Yeah, I think all of us here would prefer a stronger
100%.
CrossFit, you know, but
Yeah.
at times it's just frustrating. So I feel like you guys are kind of stepping in with consistency, with, you know, what to expect. You know, you were just talking about somebody who was upset that we've kind of, not that we've gone away from old school CrossFit whatsoever, but, you know, there's times where, you know, you wouldn't see on main site intervals of a Metcon, right? Mm-hmm. And, hey, it works, right?
Yeah, it
so,
does.
like, why would we not do that, you know? So, like, you know, people see the, oh, you know, you can get a great workout in 2 minutes. If you're testing something,
Sure.
maybe.
Sure.
But a class shouldn't be an all-out test. That's more of like a competition, right? So, yeah, intervals do make sense. You're not going to just run a 400,
And,
you know?
And again, that might be the only activity that person gets for that whole day.
Right.
You know, so like if you get somebody that comes in, you know, from sitting on their butts all day and you tell them, hey, we're going to warm up and do a 2 and Fran. And then,
and Fran is different because
a little bit
for
different.
a lot of
Yeah,
people,
sorry,
but for a high-level athlete, you know, like, or honestly, no. If you're trying to scale appropriately for somebody walking in the door, it should be around 3 minutes. But it's like, that's not effective, I don't think, personally, for overall.
It's a good test.
Like,
hey, it's a good thing, hey, we're going to do this. But again, it shouldn't be your whole model as far as, hey, in and out fast food restaurant style.
Mm-hmm.
The days of a whole class being find a 1 rep max are kind of shifting away.
Totals,
It's tough.
It is. It is.
Now, there is an argument that you could, you know, a whole class could be a strength session. You know, we don't do that frequently because there is still the, hey, people come in and a lot of people, you know, maybe 3 days a week. So Monday, Wednesday, like if you have one of those days, it's just different for them, right? But there is an argument to be made that you could just do a pure strength session with some accessory and some, you know, just a 1 rep max or a, you know, 5 rep or whatever you would want to do. But but for the general population, like, let's get them moving, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that with that, so there's elements that you can serve. You can serve different goal types. So if you were to program like a pure strength day, what you would do is that you could program the CrossFit total or the other total. And what you do is you have the time-based element there. So that fulfills the person that wants to come in. I want a Metcon. So I spent 10 minutes building up to this.
Small jumps.
Now I have to go to right into my next movement. So there's ways you can get creative if you have requests or if there's things that you want to incorporate. You just have to think about what best serves the general population. And then for the people that come in and they're like, hey, I really want to do strength every single day, say, that's cool. Like maybe you could consider our unlimited membership and I would be happy to help you find some linear progressions that we can follow.
App at Mayhem Athlete where you could finish the class workout and then maybe go to the Bergen of Strength.
Can you tell
me
more?
Bodybuilding or something like that.
Where can I find this?
Wow. Mayhem affiliate programming, they actually get a whole bunch of those tracks.
There you go. So
wow.
So have your coach or gym owner.
And like this is something that I just this week I had this conversation. I had somebody that was telling me, hey, I want to get stronger, but I can only come in 3 days a week right now. Or they could only make specific class times. And I said, well, that's not a problem. I said, let's continue coming in 3 days a week doing Metcons. And then on the times that are weird where you can't hit the start for class, those are days you should come in and do strength. And we can, so at Mayhem, we have our unlimited membership, which allows access to open gym and classes. And depending on your gym size, like we always try to take that into consideration because some gyms only have enough space for class or open gym. So you just get creative in the way that you structure that so that you can best serve your population and alternate between those open gym or class times. But yeah, like it's a matter of just figuring out the best fit for what you have available, and you can meet a lot of the requests that people are asking for.
Right.
And
so with Mayhem Affiliate, what all tracks do they get or what all access do they get?
So they get the main affiliate programming, of course. Then there's bodybuilding, kids, preteens, teens, endurance. Life is like an older athlete style class.
Which is one of our more popular.
That one does really, really well. affiliate Bergener Strength, which is 3-day a week of Bergener Strength. It's designed to complement the affiliate.
Running, spin.
Running, spin.
Oh, geez.
The monthly challenge track I told you about, so your athletes can log everything.
Get a lot.
You get a ton.
Why are we giving away so much?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
You could have just said that when we said if somebody was, what are they getting from us that they're not getting from CrossFit?
Yeah.
You could have just said all that.
Everything,
all of it. The keys.
Yeah,
we're giving you the keys.
Everything you see.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think just what you guys have done, building an online community of gyms has been awesome and awesome to see. Like it's kind of funny. Darren left to move back home and was going to open a gym, and COVID hit, and we started that's the reason we started affiliate. It was like to give Darren a job.
Yeah, we got to do something.
And it has taken off and has been an incredible thing.
That's
and then Darren was like, hey, you guys still want me to open the gym? And we were like, no, not if you don't want to. And he was like, thank God. So it's been awesome to see the growth and trajectory of it. So thank you guys.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
sure thing.
Anything else you want to touch on before anything we missed that you guys do or?
One common misconception is that the programming is
for the
people
elites.
think Mayhem is going to be for the elites.
It is.
But
I'm just kidding.
But we actually have 4 different levels for every single workout.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So we have Compete, which is one level like an RX plus.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have RX, one level down, and then our Liberty version is for that brand new athlete.
That's awesome.
So there's literally just options
Scaling
for everyone.
options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like everybody hears the word scaling. It's like, no, it's like I could do all of those options and they could probably hurt me just as much.
Yeah, it's just intensity.
It's the effort and the intensity that you put into it. And of course, you got to find that for that athlete,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of our gyms follow the in-between tier as their RX because they're a newer gym with newer athletes.
And I love that.
It's perfect. Yep.
I guess whether this is like a last piece or the best piece of advice that I can give anyone is that if you're running a gym, the consistency piece is something I keep coming back to, but I think it's the most important thing because
scaffolding.
How it's no, that's different.
Is this the third layer of the scaffold?
It's
or
no. There's always a first layer of the scaffold because then you get there and then you just build another layer. But that's besides the point.
How high can the scaffold go before it falls?
Josh,
it
that's pretty
depends.
high.
It depends on where your limits are, and if you're a Mayhem athlete,
the scaffolds were pretty
you
high.
have no limits.
Right.
That's what
Imagine
we get you
the
with
gyms
our
there with those scaffolds.
Limitless, if you will, which is a great movie with Bradley Cooper if you haven't seen it. But
Limitless
back to the
is
point
Most
of
drug use,
consistency.
though, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, but then he makes it at the end where it's not drugs anymore.
Hey, spoiler.
So I think I haven't actually seen the movie. I'm making
Triggered.
it up. But
scaffold
with the
just fell.
consistency piece, you'll have days like when you go into the gym and you've got like 15 different things that are quote unquote going wrong. So there's people that somebody could say like, hey, I wanted to cancel my membership. It didn't get canceled. There's an issue with like you heard that some people are like dealing with like personal stuff in class. You have a coach that doesn't have the schedule that they thought they had. And those days are tough, but what you do is you take it one piece at a time, and the people that know you know that with all the consistency that you've operated up to that point, you're always going to treat people fair. Now, treating people fair doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get what they want.
Cave to them.
So it's if people come up and they say, hey, I pay for a 3-class-week membership. I want to do open gym as well.
Too bad.
You have to tell them,
eat it, nerd.
Because of consistency, I have to get you on an unlimited membership. And you can explain the benefits to them, and people will understand. It's
Some
just
people
that
won't.
if you
Like,
don't
I really want to talk about the scaffolding thing.
if you don't have confidence in what you're doing, and that includes having tough conversations, then you need to find somebody that can help you have those tough conversations.
Psychiatrist.
And one of the best pieces of advice that I can give to any gym owner, and this is actually great life advice, when somebody asks you for something, they're not expecting a yes. So it's okay to say no. So
I was thinking it was going to be bigger than that, Josh.
no, when you go into an interaction and somebody's asking you for something, a lot of people are like, they want to get a yes out of me. You're not required to do that.
You haven't heard my kids.
But you have to give a reason why there's a no. So it's like, do you want to eat that rock? This is what you'd say to your children, not a member. You have to explain to them why it wouldn't be. They get worms or something.
Yeah.
You could tell them that.
Yeah, I don't have my appendix, so I can't digest it.
But when you're running a gym, like it literally is you. Like you have to put yourself into it. And so you ride the highs and you ride the lows. But you just always know that I remind myself in situations when things are really busy or I'm trying to figure out how to solve a situation. I look at all the good that it's done in people's lives, and it's an amazing thing because I've talked about this before. I don't know if it was on the last podcast or not, but growing up, we're kind of forced with other people. So you're forced in elementary school to be with your class. In high school, you have your class. Even in college, if you went to college, that's the same thing.
Tribalism.
But when you get out of that into the real world, then you start getting a job, and you may not have good interpersonal relationships because like nobody likes their job where you're working, or you're just isolated there.
I do.
Well done,
the
Christine.
community that CrossFit offers is a place for people to come together and find that acceptance and that encouragement that we grew up with. And it's something that's not common to find as an adult, because it's like if you don't have that, if you don't have a church that you consistently go to, or if you don't have a CrossFit gym, it's difficult to find like core groups of people because friends move away, people get different jobs. And so this is what I feel Mayhem Affiliate exemplifies, is that we provide like your home. So wherever you go in the country, if you look at the map and you find a Mayhem Affiliate, you're going to find something that is so similar to your own home community that you do at your gym that it's like, it feels like you're at home. It's just, you got a couple different family members that are there kind of thing.
Yeah, they might speak a different language, but it attracts the same type of people.
You can literally reminisce on the workout last week, even though you've never met these people.
Exactly. And so
Everybody
I think
finds
that
common ground.
when you look at Mayhem programming and you're like, man, this is really hard, we're making you better. And if it's too hard for you, we offer those options so that it can meet you where you're at with your fitness, so that you can eventually get to those really hard levels. So it's trust the process. There's a lot of really cool, passionate people that are behind all of this, and they all work together to make this happen. And like every Mayhem affiliate I've dropped into, it's just like being in Cookeville. It's a really cool thing to see. So if you're not signed up, you should do it right now. And I don't have a code to give you, but you could use Josh something. But
Josh Scaffolding.
Yeah,
You
Josh
can email
Scaffolding.
me.
Yep.
Fun fact, I took construction in high school, and we built a house, and you sell it at the end of the year, and it's exactly what you think. Really crappy house.
Nice.
But
I thought this was going to relate to scaffolding.
it is. Hold on, I'm
It's
getting
a great fact.
So the people that are building that house set up said scaffolding, and so somebody set up scaffolding from the previous class, and I was on, it was either the second or might even been like the third step up, and the whole thing fell, and I just surfed it right to the ground.
So
you can ride that
I got
wave
lucky.
high, and you can ride that wave
that's right.
low.
Literally.
I just thought about that.
If you over scaffold, it'll fail.
Exactly.
But
We got to have good reflexes.
Like
it,
life,
yeah.
metaphorically
This is
speaking.
great wisdom right here.
that's it.
That's all good.
Wow.
You should
That's
write
really cool.
fortune
Is that house
cookies.
still standing? Do you know?
I don't know. They sell it off every year. So
Metaphorically.
every year. Every year.
Wow.
It's like a
Are people aware?
Tyler Peak bought one, actually.
Do they
Not the one that I built. But
do they know that they're buying a house that students built?
I guess. I
Is
don't
there
know.
like a discount on it?
I don't know. It's an auction.
And you're like, yeah, let's just get this thing out of here quick.
Yeah.
Next.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's actually pretty fun. Pretty good class, too. Especially now. Nobody knows how to do it. So
They're like, we
I've
can
never
reuse
heard a
this
construction
scaffolding.
class.
it was awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, all right.
Wow.
Well,
Good stuff.
big gulps, huh?
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank
Have
you.
fun on the affiliate tour.
Yeah, we're excited.
I
Yeah,
just
we
said,
are
hey,
excited.
I can't do it in December. They said, all right, cool. We're going to do it just like Josh when he
Yep.
said,
All
hey,
right,
I'm
we're
going
gonna
to
do it in December.
I'm going to do the member party.
Brother, I gave
and-
you like 4 dates, and
No, you didn't.
you're a busy man.
No, you didn't.
You are a busy man.
So.
You are.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Peace.